my name is Mario, and I acknowledge that all work submitted is my own, and everything that is not is properly cited. And I'll begin by talking about what is service learning. Service learning is defined by dictionary.com as the incorporation of community service within an educational system. And like most of you guys, I had to complete a service learning project. It had to be at least 4 hours, and I myself completed 9 hours, so I feel I'm qualified to talk about this area. And like I said, I'm going to talk about my service learning, and I'm going to talk about my experiences with it, 2 concepts and a principle that apply to my service learning, and a concept that I believe would help my communications, and a civil and ethical implication that would help our community. Next, I'll talk to you guys about my experience with service learning. So the organization was the Arkansas Classic Speech and Debate Tournament hosted by STOA. And their mission statement was to bring up a generation of leaders with unparalleled skills in communication, organization, and research, according to the website on stoausa.org, accessed April 2017. And now my actual experience. Upon arriving, it was set at a church, Christian church, and the entire faculty, they were dressed in suits, dresses, they dressed real nice, so I felt underdressed because I came in a t-shirt. So everybody was like, no, it's okay, we appreciate you being here. You're part of the community, and that kind of brought me in. So after that, they led us into the orientation room where in about 15 minutes, they told us about what they expected of us as a community judge, what we're supposed to do, and how to deal with the kids, since they were 12 to 18, so they were fairly young. And from there, we were given a room number, and they gave us a pink sheet and a green sheet. The pink sheet was meant to be, you write the winner on it, and you turn it in so that they can move the tournament along, because it was a timely manner, so they had to get it done quickly. Then the green sheet was later on when we had to write, feedback. So once we went into the room, there was a chair and 2 tables, and I was like, oh, who else is gonna be in here? And once I got in there, I was intimidated because it was only me and them, and that's it, nobody else. So it was just me and the kids, and I kind of felt like I was babysitting for a little bit, because at some points they were getting into arguments. I was like, hey guys, calm down. But you're not allowed to talk to them a lot. You're only supposed to, use verbal cues like, go ahead and start the timer and things like that. And from there, we had to tell them thank you and leave real quick. You couldn't stay in there too long with them. And we went to the judge's room. And in there you would turn in your pink sheet, and then the green sheet you would fill out, provide feedback, what they could improve on, why you chose the winner, and things like that. But I supported the mission by helping them improve their skills in communication, organization, and research by providing great feedback. Well, all right feedback. And yeah. And I talked to you guys about my experience with it, the organization and its mission, and how I supported it. And I'll talk to you guys about 2 concepts and a principle that I experienced with my service learning. And the first one being active listening, which is a type of listening that features verbal and nonverbal responses to others that let them know we are paying attention and taking responsibility for understanding their meaning, according to Lane, Abigail, and Gooch in our Communication and Civil Society book. And an example of this would be when they actually started debating. You had to use your hand gestures. You couldn't really talk to them as much. And you have to, nod your head. You can go ahead and start, or you can go ahead and stop, and things like that. Then the second concept is going to be critical listening. Now, that was actually a listening style in which we analyze and evaluate messages by delaying judgment before forming an opinion, according to Lane, Abigail, and Gooch in our Communication and Civil Society book. And basically, this is actually taking in what they're saying and actually forming an opinion based off of what they're arguing for. So that's actually when you have to really start thinking and start trying to understand what they're actually trying to say. Like they were talking about, they were arguing for eminent domain, which is when the government can take your property if they compensate you properly for public use. So yeah, so I had to take that in and kind of write down notes, and I didn't know what that was, and they did such a good job of explaining what it is. They defined it, provided citation, everything like that. And then A communication principle is going to be the meaning of a message is influenced by interpretation, and is defined by our survival guide on page 11. And basically, it's communicators generate meaning. They are unique. Therefore, meaning is unique. They generate interpretations. They are unique, and interpretations are unique. What I think is unique to me and to me alone, which basically that's just what they're saying might not be actually what I'm understanding, and what they're meaning to say might not be what I'm meaning to say. You know, since they're little, their definition of government might be different from what mine is. All right, so I talked to you guys about two concepts and a principle that apply to my service learning. And now I'll talk to you guys about a communication concept that would help my communication and a civil implication that would help my community. All right, the first one would be feedback, which is defined as the response to a sender's message, which can be verbal, nonverbal, or both. According to Lane Abigail and Gooch in our Communication in Society book. And basically, after I completed the first round, which is just basic, when arguing the affirmative, when the negative, I had a choice of either leaving, but I actually thought it was kind of fun, so I stayed a little bit longer. So I didn't know that the next was going to be like 2-3 hours. So I ended up doing like 15 monologues, and they each had about 4 minutes apiece. So after listening to them and completing this, I had to go back to the judge's room, and by about the 5th one I was writing, I started to notice that I was writing, oh, he was good, oh, she was all right, she did okay. And it kind of started repeating as I was going along, and by the 10th one I was just like, they did good, and then, you know, I was done. So feedback would have helped me, you know, kind of define specifically what it was that made them good or what it was that didn't make them as good, and that's how I feel it would have helped me. Next, I'll talk about a civil and ethical implication, which is fairness, considering all sides of a situation without showing favor to our own interests, according to our survival guide on page 12. And it would help our community because, for example, when they were doing their affirmative versus negative debate speech, they each got the same amount of time. So they would get 9 minutes, and then another 9 minutes and 9 minutes. So everybody got a chance to put in their input, all given the same time, so everybody had the opportunity to give their own opinion. So in our community, if everybody had the chance to give, you know, their opinion, have the same amount of time, then we would be able to have a more integrated society, and everybody could really come together to make the decisions of our community. All right, so I talked to you guys about a communication concept that would help my communication skills, and a civil and ethical implication that would help our community. And now I'll talk about my conclusion. And so I'll talk to you guys about my service learning. I'll talk to you guys about my experience, two concepts and a principle that I experienced during my service learning, a concept that would help my communication skills, and a civil and ethical implication that would help my community. And I'm going to end it by quoting the same definition of service learning, which is the incorporation of community service within an educational system, according to dictionary.com. Thank you.